What's good, everyone? Welcome back for another session. I was fortunate enough to be able to pull copies for this unit during the banners, so I did play around with this unit for a little bit and, feel comfortable enough to showcase kind of the unit performance overall. And I will say, I did end up having a pretty quote-unquote incredible run where things kind of played out the way I wanted it to play out and closed out, the run on a perfect note. So that's kind of why the title is the way it is. But yeah, overall this unit is a pretty fun unit overall. So I don't necessarily think I covered all the details relating to this, guys. So let me just go ahead and cover it real quick, and then we'll talk about the run overall itself second. So again, this is the brand new LR physical type Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. Obviously it has that new standby mechanic, but leader skills, power of wishes, or final trump card category key +3, HP attack and defense increase of 170%, plus an additional HP attack and defense increase of 30% for characters who also belong to the Connected Hope or Majin Buu Saga category. Now for the 12 key super attack, raises defense, raises attack for 1 turn, and causes colossal damage to enemy. For the 18 key or ultra super attack, greatly raises defense, greatly raises attack for 1 turn, and causes mega colossal damage to enemy. In terms of the passive skill, you've got attack and defense increase of 200%, plus an additional attack and defense increase of 50% when HP is 50% or more, plus an additional defense increase of 100%, additional key +1 per key sphere obtained as the first attacker in a turn, plus an additional attack increase of 100%, additional key +2 per key sphere obtained as the second or third attacker in the turn. Launches an additional attack that has got a great chance of becoming a super attack when key is 18. Launches an additional super attack when key is 24, plus an additional key +1, and chance of performing a critical hit +10% up to a maximum of 50% with each super attack performed. Whew, that was a lot of information there. Alright, standby skill. Switch to standby for 5 turns. Gain 1 charge counter per key sphere obtained for all allies. Can be activated when HP is 50% or less, or after performing 4 or more attacks during the battle, starting from the 4th turn from the start of battle, 1 time only. In terms of links, we'll just go ahead and talk through it. Level 10 links with Saiyan Warrior Race will be attack increase of 10%. Golden Warrior, all enemies defense minus 10%, key +1. Super Saiyan will give you attack increase of 15%. Experienced Fighters will be attack increase of 15%. Prepare for Battle will be key +2, attack and defense increase of 5%. Fierce Battle will be attack increase of 20%, and of course Legendary Power will be attack increase of 15% when performing a super attack. In terms of categories, Majin Buu Saga, Pure Saiyan, Join Forces, Final Trump Card, All Out Struggle, Battle of Wits, Connected Hope, Mastered Evolution, Battle of Fate, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Bond of Parent and Child, and Power of Wishes. So a lot of good categories related to that. And, some might be more niche than others, but lastly, let's just talk about the transformed or standby state of Goku and Vegeta. So again, the passive skill cannot attack except performing a finish attack, defense increase of 250%, guards all attacks for 4 turns from start of turn, randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres, reduces damage received by 8% per key sphere obtained, plus an additional attack increase of 500% when performing a finish attack. And then the finish attack number 1 will be temporary attack increase of 15% per charge counter accumulated and causes ultimate damage to enemy. Can be activated when charge counter is 38 or below. I think in this case I went with the actual number 2 finish attack, where you basically get the charge counter 39 or above. Where it does temporarily attack increase 20% per charge counter accumulated and causes a super ultimate damage to enemies. So a lot of jam-packed information there, but I think a lot of the stuff depends on how you want to play the unit, right? Depending on whether it's the first or second or third slot, that'll give you either a defense boost or an attack boost depending on what slot you put it in. You got to kind of time your standbys a little bit, and I kind of tried to do that in this run, where I really just wanted to use the standby function whenever it was appropriate, because I did still want the unit to be able to perform the 12 or 18 key super attacks and just kind of measure the performance both from an offensive defense standpoint when it's actually attacking. But I did reserve the standby skill set for the the last portion of the battle, so you will see that come into play in the overall, you know, damage output and whatnot related to it. But you know, I've, you know, playing with this unit for a couple of days and still kind of getting, you know, really familiar with it. But in terms of like the team build and, you know, the units that I brought in, obviously the Vegeta and Trunks unit is very important in terms of, you know, damage mitigation, but also the potential multiple, you know, super attacks, reduce the HP levels down or whatnot. Obviously AGL LR Gohan is very good with the EZA in terms of, you know, both an offense and defense standpoint, so, you know, obviously a good unit to include. I did include the EZA physical Super Saiyan Bardock because of the support to allies, but also the unit is able to, you know, defend pretty well once the guard is actually activated. And I just saw it pop up. I ended up, you know, running low with the Whis item, so I had to bring in the Icarus item as kind of the item consumption here, but even with the Icarus item, you're still able to kind of run through this with, for the most part, no real problems. I think the only thing that makes it weird is, you know, the starting position of the run itself. I think, you know, from my, you know, attempts at the runs here, it is very important to have the Trunks and Vegeta unit, at least one of them in the first slot, because it is against a tech type enemy, and you do want to be able to you know, defend during the initial, you know, phases of the battle, because otherwise you're essentially going to struggle the rest of the way. Even though, you know, you want to get that HP level down at some point to be able to transform the AGL Gohan to the Super Saiyan 2 state. So, you know, mixed bags in terms of how you want to handle it, but I've had runs where, you know, turn one or you know, the first rotation, I got pretty much obliterate. I can't even say the word. I'm not even going to try. I got destroyed basically, right? First rotation because of, you know, the attack structure of the enemy during that particular run. But again, a lot of it is it does come down to RNG still, but there's ways to, you know, mitigate that obviously. So that's pretty much the way I would look at it. But I think from a pairing standpoint, you know, it's not the best of partners, but as you can see, I had it linked up to, you know, one of the Trunks and Vegeta units because of the orientation of the way I wanted the rotations to work. So obviously you have better candidates from a link setting, like the you know, like the physical type Alert Gogeta, for example, pre-transform, they link up pretty well with the unit, and there's various others, but yeah, I mean, it's a very specific team build that you kind of want to run for this type of event. So you kind of lose the flexibility a little bit when it comes to the variations of units you want to bring into the team. So, you know, it's not the best link setting, but I think from the overall performance setting, it works out pretty well. So I do have the standby skill activated at this point, and again, once you're in that situation, pretty much cannot attack. It's more or less just, you know, gathering all the ki you can for the giant spirit bomb, but you know, outside of that, you know, defense will go up by 250%, and you know, guards all attacks, and you know, will reduce damage received by 8% for every, you know, key sphere obtained, and you know, stuff of that nature. So it's a good way to potentially mitigate damage when you're at a dangerous point in a particular event, and you kind of need, you know, that setting, especially, you know, when you do have type advantage too. I mean, that's pretty much going to nullify a lot of attacks, especially if they're concentrated in one slot in particular, you know. So it is an interesting concept. Again, I have to play around with it even more to be able to kind of make a judgment call on how to appropriately use the unit and what have you. You know, I'm still kind of getting familiar with the overall unit, but I was luckily able to get the transformation with Gogeta here and fully recover HP and what have you, and I try to, you know, gather as much ki as possible here to set it up for the next rotation with the you know, ultimate attack, or whatever the right word is for this one. I guess it's called a finish attack at this point, but yeah, it kind of played out pretty well. Like, I mean, I was actually surprised, but I guess, you know, considering the amount of runs I went through, to just time things, you know, accordingly, I guess it makes sense eventually, you know, things will work out. But you know, it is great to kind of finish off a run on a high note, especially when things play out the way you wanted. You know, got the AGL Gohan to transform, obviously, with the transformed state. With every key sphere obtained, you're able to build up the attack and defense as well, and then obviously Trunks and Vegeta were able to build up their skill set based on the amounts, getting hit early on in the battle, and then Gogeta again being able to transform, recover HP, and then you've got the second turn coming up where essentially the Goku unit's ready for that finish attack. So in this case, I did want to make sure everything was filled up, so I did gather some ki with the Trunks and Vegeta unit first, and then popped it off afterwards. And yeah, got the HP levels for the Gamma number 2 down pretty well. So I mean, I'm still kind of shocked with this animation cutscene on the attack. It's just literally straight from the anime, condensed a little bit type deal. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those scenes where you grow up as a kid and just it's kind of mind blowing. So it's a really nice throwback in that regard, and I do appreciate Dokkan making sure the super attack animations and what have you looked really good, and the KO screen is a very nice touch. So again, I wanted to close this out on a high note with the finish attack, and it worked out perfectly. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.